You know, a bow tie and a conversation with a stranger have something in common. Both start with a little twist and a lot of confidence. Let me explain. When you're getting ready for an event, maybe it's a networking mixer or a community gathering, you might spend some time thinking about your outfit, your hair, even your shoes. But once you arrive, standing in a room with unfamiliar people and faces, the challenge appears. How do you talk to someone you don't know? Your mind goes blank. You suddenly become very interested in the snack table. I mean, picture it. You're standing there holding a glass of water or maybe a cup of coffee, scanning the room. Everyone seems to know each other. They know someone else. So the toughest part here isn't finding something to say, it's having the courage to take the first step. Now, how does that tie in with the bow tie? Well, as you just saw, taking a bow tie takes a little finesse. When you first start, it's awkward, flipping and looping and adjusting and tightening, and maybe you mess it up 5 times before you get it right. But once you do it a few times, it becomes second nature. You stop thinking about the mechanics and start thinking about the style. Well, starting a conversation works the same way. It begins with practice. Notice something. Offer a smile. Say hello. Ask a question. And listen to the answer. Then repeat. Now, it may feel a little clumsy at first, but every time you do it, you get a little smoother, more confident, more natural. So, tonight, I showed you how to tie a bow tie, but I'll also show you how to tie these together, the bow tie and the conversation. Not because you have to be flashy, but because a little preparation and boldness goes a long way. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just need to be willing. Don't forget, in tonight's Mastery Minute, I'll share a timeless phrase that describes instant chemistry, and I'll take your questions live after that. Okay, so I want to introduce you to Javier. Javier had just transferred to his company's Seoul office in Seoul, Korea, from Mexico City. He's a talented business analyst with fluent technical skills, but outside of spreadsheets and data reports, he was really starting from zero. He had no friends, no network, no idea where to begin building connections. Well, on his second week at the company in Seoul, they sent him to a professional seminar on innovation and workplace culture. So the room was full of well-dressed professionals, many chatting away easily in Korean, others sipping coffee and scrolling their phones. Javier grabbed his name tag and stood awkwardly near the coffee machine, waiting for a spark of courage. And then he noticed something. There was somebody sitting near the pastry table with a laptop open with a Python IDE running. So Javier smiled to himself. That was his in. He walked over and said, "Hey, is that VS Code?" "Huh. I use the same setup for my data models. Are you a developer?" That simple observation led to a 5-minute chat, which turned into a seat next to that developer during the first workshop. And by lunch, Javier had been introduced to 3 other attendees, including a senior manager from another firm who offered to connect later for project collaboration. See, one small comment, one relevant question, that's all it took to go from invisible to included. And that is the secret tonight. Connection doesn't come from being interesting. It comes from being interested. So, I want you to know, conversations are not magic. They are skills. And like any skill, you get better with practice. You don't need clever lines or even huge confidence. You just need a little curiosity, a little courage, and a clear game plan. So we're going to go through 5 practical steps to break the ice and start strong no matter what the setting. That's it, just 5. All right, so I'm going to give you the 5 keys of talking with strangers. Key number 1. Picture yourself arriving at a professional networking event. You're holding your name tag, scanning the room just like Javier, and it's filled with people deep in conversation, laughing politely, trading business cards. Everyone looks busy and confident, and you feel like an outsider, just orbiting the action. But here's your move. Start by observing. Look around. Don't stare. Just look long enough to catch a detail. Maybe someone's wearing a backpack from a conference you attended last year. Maybe someone is flipping through a presentation deck, or you spot a familiar company logo on someone's lanyard. This is where you find your hook, a natural opening line. Find your hook. Okay, look for those details. Now, for example, you could say, wow, I love that tie you're wearing. Huh? Or, it's so colorful. Where did you get it? I like that question because I like ties. I'm naturally curious. Or you could say, hey, I noticed your badge says FinTech Seoul. Were you part of that conference? These little details give you something real to talk about. You're not trying to impress. You're just being present and curious. And here's a tip that you can use right away. Next time you walk into a room or join a call or video chat, pause for 30 seconds and mentally note 3 things you could ask about. You don't even have to use them all. Just notice them, because you only need one small hook to pull someone into a conversation. That's it. Okay. Here's key number 2. Smile and open with a greeting. So you've made your observations, you've found your moment, now it's time to act. Take a breath, straighten your posture, and offer something most people overlook. Offer a genuine smile, a real one. Not the fake, nervous kind, but a warm, open smile that hits the eyes and says, hey, I see you. I'm open to connecting. When you smile, make eye contact. You signal that you're friendly and confident and trustworthy. You're not barging into someone's space. You're inviting them into yours. So, keep your opening line simple and low pressure. You don't need a TED Talk. You don't want a long opening. Just start with something like, hi, I'm Dennis. How's your evening going? How's your day going? What do you think of this conference? Or just, how are you today, right? That's enough to unlock the door. So you can do what my wife did to actually learn English. Stand in front of a mirror and try introducing yourself with a smile 5 times. Experiment with a casual tone, a professional tone, a curious tone. Notice what feels the most natural and keep it up. Try it. You'll be surprised how quickly it becomes more natural to you. Key number 3. I always come back to this, asking open-ended questions. Once you got the conversation started, don't let it fizzle. Keep it flowing by steering away from dead-end yes or no questions, like, do you like the conference? Or did you have a lunch or dinner? That's like, look, think of it like playing catch. Okay? You want to toss them a question that invites more than a grunt or a nod, more than yes or no. Questions like, oh, what brings you here tonight? Or what do you think of this event so far? Those open up the door to stories and opinions and shared experiences. They help you to make connections. They show that you're curious, and that curiosity is flattering. It tells the other person, hey, I care about your perspective. So here's your tip. Choose 5 open-ended questions that feel natural to you. Write them down, and next time you're at an event, try one out. Just one. See how that conversation expands. And it doesn't have to be an event. You could be at a coffee shop, at a meeting. You could be anywhere and open that up. All right, key number 4. And I got to move this along because we're running out of time. All right, this is where most people slip up. Key number 4 is all about listening. They ask a great question, then immediately start thinking about what they'll say next. But real connection happens when you listen. Not just hearing the words, but truly engaging. So make sure you nod. Make eye contact. React with short affirmations like, I see, or that's interesting. These cues tell the speaker that you're with them, and they encourage the speaker to keep talking. Because when they feel heard, they'll open up more. And be sure to pay attention to how they speak. How are they speaking? Are they calm? Or are they thoughtful? Match their tone with your tone. Are they excited and animated? Well, then let your energy rise up to meet theirs. It would be very strange to walk into a group or meet a person who is talking very subdued like this, and you're instantly bubbly and it would be off-putting and not invite that trust. So matching their energy, we call this mirroring. It's building a rapport, making them feel more comfortable with you. So practice this. During your next conversation, make it a goal to listen 80% of the time and speak 20%. Try saying, I see, or really, 3 times and mean it each time. Okay? All right. Key number 5. This is where you get to share a little bit about yourself. Because a good conversation is like a dance. If they step forward with a story, you step in with a little of your own. Now, I'm not saying that you should give your life story, just short personal nuggets that keep the rhythm going, the back and forth. If someone tells you they've just moved to the city, say, I moved here last year too, or, something that's right for you. Find hidden, after you say that, you should always add more information, right? I moved here last year too. And finding little hidden cafes has become a little weekend mission for me. So I actually knew a guy who did that. He would go around and made it his goal to never go to the same cafe more than once. He never went to the same cafe twice. I asked, what would you do if you run out of cafes in your city? He said, I don't think that's going to happen. You don't. This is going to create a little balance, right? It shows that you're not just here interrogating and asking them questions. It builds a two-way exchange. Now, you're not just interested, but you're also interesting. And practice this. Okay, you can use ChatGPT or another AI for this, or you can just write it down. Write and practice a 15-second personal intro that shares who you are and something human about yourself, like a hobby, a recent experience, or your reason for being at an event or at a certain place. Try it. You'll find it to be very useful. A little preparation goes a long way. And all right, so let's just recap this really quick. Remember, we're going to start with notice something, observe, make a comment about it. Make sure when you greet your person that you're meeting, smile. Show that you're approachable. Most important, ask those open-ended questions. Listen to what the other person is saying. I mean, really listen. And then mirror their level of attitude, their level of energy, their tone, everything like that. And then, of course, share a little bit about yourself. If you can master these 5 tools, you will turn strangers into friends, and your English turns into a conversational tool. not just for writing emails. And here's your challenge for today. Pick one key and practice it in at least one conversation. Could be at a coffee shop, in the elevator, could be online. And then share your experience in the comments, or in our community group you can get to at allaboutenglishmastery.com. Let's support each other. And if you're watching live right now, post your questions in the chat and I'll answer as many as I can right after the Mastery Minute. And you can catch the blog in the comments and the description as well. So check that out. All right, it's time for my favorite part of the show, the Mastery Minute. And tonight's Mastery Minute is all about the phrase, hit it off. Have you ever heard someone say they hit it off? You may have heard it when someone describes meeting a new coworker or making a new connection and says, wow, we really hit it off. But did you ever wonder where that came from? Well, I did too. The phrase actually comes back. It started to be used in the 18th century, about the 1700s, but it actually comes from an earlier version in the 1600s. Hit it was the phrase back then. Hit it had a broad meaning. It meant to meet or connect, not just strike like we'd mean it today. We hit somebody or something. Hit it is actually from Old English and a little bit of Norse, like the Vikings, where hitta meant to find or meet. Hitta. So that's where it evolved. So by the late 1700s, hit it off was used to describe people who got along well from the start, people whose personalities or interests clicked right away. So next time you connect with someone quickly, whether at a business lunch or networking event or just chatting over coffee, you can tell your friends, we really hit it off. You'll be using the phrase with centuries of good chemistry behind it. Isn't that interesting? All right, next time on Friday, I want to say thank you for joining me today. This is episode 38 of 15-Minute Mastery. If you found it helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who's looking to make connections easier. Next time, on Friday, we will dive into how to navigate difficult conversations in English, whether it's offering feedback, handling disagreements, or resolving tension with clarity and confidence. You're not going to want to miss this, especially if you have to work with people, But until then, keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep finding your voice. And I'll see you Friday at 9:30 p.m. Korea Standard Time. Until then, aloha. Oops.